Hi Libra, this is Wishko the Ferret. Thanks for hopping into the Ferret Den. We're keeping it warm here, we're keeping it cozy. Today we have a reading from May 29th to June 4th. There is a full moon, let me check here. There's a full moon in Sagittarius, either on the 3rd or the 4th, depending on where you're at in the world, so go ahead and check that out. Also your favorite astrologer, so you can work with that full moon magic. As always, drop into your heart space, Libra. Let the dust spiritually, physically, and emotionally settle around and within you so that you can determine which messages are for you and which messages are for others. And as always, I want to thank Archangel Michael for protecting me and for guiding me and keeping me strong in my truth, keeping me strong with my energy and my boundaries. Thank you to the angel teams and the spirit guides that are going to get involved for helping me connect with Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising energies. And already, boom. Okay. Okay. So, the situation here, immediately, right off the bat, yeah, the world. The world is, first of all, I just heard bountiless energy. Boundless energy, or bountiful energy. It's almost like there's a lot of energy, and it's almost like endless energy, if that makes sense, but it's abundant energy. So there's a lot of abundance surrounding you at this time, and I feel like the world is about completing a cycle, but it's also starting a new path as well, because it's closing out a cycle. It's the completionist. It's like the end of the major arcana, so it is completing. But I love the insinuation of the world, because not only is it the closing of one path, but because life is ever changing and always moving forward, it is always an introduction to something new. So it is like a new beginning or a new start. This is just the Herald of Change card that's coming, that's like the message that's coming through specifically is changing. So it's almost like you're changing or you're shifting gears here. And it like, you have a lot of things that you can step into right now. So what are you going to step into? I don't know. Let's see. It seems like whatever it is that you feel called to step into, the challenge here that crosses the situation is the Six of Pentacles. The Six of Pentacles is giving. It is to giving on occasion, especially when in a challenging position. The Six of Pentacles often has trouble with boundaries when it's challenged. It's almost like it does deal with a give and take. So perhaps someone is generous, but they're being too generous. So perhaps you yourself are being too generous to others and not really giving yourself enough credit. There are new starts. You have such strong capabilities. And this almost kind of reminds me of making sure, like if you're in business, make sure that you're being, like you're charging what you're actually worth. Another big thing with this is making sure that like you are, I feel like it's like charging like time appropriately, but make sure that you're not giving too much of your time away. Make sure that you have strong set boundaries, because you need to feel replenished in order to do whatever it is that you're doing. Regardless of whether this is a love situation, a career or finance reading, however this applies to you in your life, just make sure that you are maintaining your energetic boundaries. I view the pentacles in many different forms, which is why they often show up a lot in my readings. This, to me, pentacles is not just finances. It is the material, the way that we connect with things, and it is also, for me, the spiritual. So, like, I just view it all as material and spiritual energy, because they are also intertwined as well. Typically, when we experience spiritual abundance, sometimes financial abundance, like finances, do come as like a secondary thing when we are attracting. So, I view those two as like hand in hand. But, you know, it depends on your path, it depends on how you view it, but I do feel like some of you want to score big money-wise, and there is potential for that. Perhaps you've been exposed to a lot of, like, I feel like this generational thing, like perhaps in your family people had been very ruthless in trying to get money from other people, or there were just some pretty harsh or strong methods, and maybe you don't want to do it like that. I don't really know why I'm getting like the generational thing, but just make sure that you're watching out for, I wouldn't even say watch out, it's just be aware, because it's something to work with, because not only, like, yes, there are like generational patterns that need to be broken, but there are also generational gifts that have been given to you as well. So let's say that like perhaps you were always poor because your family was always just so generous to everyone else. and they just gave everything away. Perhaps that's something that you need to break. You're like, yes, you are amazingly generous, but at the same time, like, you learn to be amazingly generous, but at the same time, it's almost like I need to learn to be selfish, because being selfish is not a bad thing, by the way, but taking care of me is going to be incredibly important. It's the same thing for, like, if somebody was incredibly ruthless and how they were trying to attain money, perhaps you were trying to do the exact opposite and be like, no, I just want to be really generous. But sometimes you have to put up strong, firm boundaries. It doesn't mean that you're conducting business badly. It just means that you know what you need to succeed. Like, you know what you need to actually go further with it, to sustain yourself and to keep your business up and running to help other people, okay? And there are always caveats. Like, if I charge too high, then some people just won't come to me. And that's just something that, yes, like, you will have to deal with, but maybe you can accommodate by hosting free events or free this every once in a while or free that. But just having a certain section of time allotted specifically for, like, I don't want to say, like, the charity, but, like, and allotting enough time for your generosity to be free so that it offers no repercussions to you or your energy. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. And again, this doesn't have to be material. I'm just using very material examples, okay? But maybe you're just being too generous when you're, like, giving, like giving your energy to, like, your lover or the people in your life, and you're being too generous, but it's almost like it comes at a cost. It comes at a cost. What's coming up from your subconscious now is the Seven of Wands. So sometime this week you might feel a little defensive. You might feel a little defensiveness coming up. Sometimes the Seven of Wands can be so defensive that they are offensive. And the Seven of Wands is not actually bad. It's trying to reclaim your power because it indicates that some boundary line has been crossed. So I do feel like this is something that you have been working towards lately in spirit. Actually, I see, like, a few people in spirit waving pom-poms at you, like, yay, like, you could do it. They're being your little cheerleaders. It's almost like they're proud of you. Like, there will probably come a time this week where you have to stand up for yourself, and that's what's coming up from within. It's almost like a boundary has been crossed, and you're like, okay, enough is enough. And that boundary does not have to be enforced with an electric fence. You don't have to immediately, it's almost like Spirit saying quiet the mind in order to determine how, like, let them feed you information intuitively so that you know how to move throughout enforcing these boundaries. But some of you might feel like, oh, I don't want to enforce boundaries because I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want to put my foot down like that. You know, you don't have to have it be an electric fence. It could be a calm, quiet presence and just firmly stating no when someone approaches the wall, basically, or the line that you don't want crossed. So keep that in mind. It's defending what you own. It's defending what you have. It's defending your energy. And perhaps, I don't know, I just feel like for whatever reason, it's a long time coming. It's a long time coming. It's something that has been bothering you for a while. And it is something that you are finally standing up for yourself. And I love that, Libra. I love it. You have in the past, you have the Eight of Wands. Maybe you're somebody that's took on too much. The Eight of Wands is having a lot going on at the same time, but something requiring focus. So maybe you found that in order to achieve your dreams, in order to move forward, you needed to focus on one particular thing. And maybe that in itself, maybe you found you were stretching yourself too thin. But the Eight of Wands to me feels like stretching yourself too thin, because a lot of times we try to prioritize multiple things. So maybe that's something, it just feels like crazy, chaotic energy, having many balls up in the air, having many things going on at once. But the future position, you have the Page of Swords. So thinking very carefully. Actually, I feel like I'm meant to read it like the other way, so I'm going to hold off on the Page of Swords for a minute, because that is indicating a sort of like thinking, or it's like a thought-provoking type of energy of like in the near future, what do I have to do to move forward? Because we have a focus here that I'm very intrigued by. We have the Five of Cups here as the focus. So this card in particular reflects feelings of hopelessness or feelings of like, what's coming to mind is abandonment or insecurities. Typically the Five of Cups is a disappointment card of focusing on things that were lost. But I feel like for whatever reason, these are insecurities, and it seems like there is a part of you that feels inadequate this week. If you don't feel this already, then this might not apply to you, but maybe there's a situation that comes up where you feel inadequate. And it's almost reflecting, I do feel like you're working through it though. It's like just a challenge that you're working through because it is necessary. This type of recognition is necessary in order to provoke thought in the Page of Swords and think, well, like it makes him think about his environment, the way that people have talked to them, the way that they treated you. So it's almost like you're calling into question, well, you know, why do I feel so insecure? It's almost like I see like journaling prompts, or like you might understand that there are methods to other people's madness, but you know what, Libra, there's a method to your own madness as well. And it's almost like you're trying to work through that, and you think, well, I don't like to feel like this. Why am I feeling like this? And you're turning like an analytical eye or a critical eye to that, so that you're actually able to, because you have to take a look at yourself in order to figure out where should I draw the boundary. I thought I was this person that gave away so many things. I thought I was this person that, you know, did this for people, or I thought that this was the way that I conducted myself, and this is the way that I had my personality. It's almost like, I don't see like a whole identity crisis for you, Libra, though it could be. It is just a simple rework of how am I thinking, and like what choices am I making in order, like why am I feeling this way? And finding the source of that helps you make, like, it's almost like taking balanced steps. For whatever reason, Spirit is saying balance, the word balance. So it's almost like you're taking balanced, careful steps to get to a place where you don't feel those insecurities anymore, but there is a situation that is provoking some type of insecurity that you are taking a close eye on. You, in essence, in this Celtic Cross reading, the position of you and maybe like your current feelings or just your current person right now in general is the Five of Wands. Interestingly enough, you had the Five of Cups, but the Five of Wands came out immediately after, and I just kind of placed them wherever like I feel drawn to before I even dive into the story. But for Five of Wands, it feels like, I mean, it's the card of like emotional turmoil or disturbance. Like there's a lot of conflicting energies. This could be within you. This could be around you. Typically, I see it as like an internal conflict, and the Five of Swords like an outer conflict. But I do feel like this is a conflict of different energies, but I feel like it's undercurrent. Does that make sense? It's like conflict within you, but I sense that the conflict between you and somebody else as well, but it's not, it could be one party or multiple parties, but it's not a small thing. It's like an undercurrent of a situation. I don't think anything's been spoken aloud, but maybe there's some underlying energy of something not meshing or not aligning with one another, or the energies aren't lining up. And it's almost like you're frustrated because there's just a lot of chaos. There's a lot of chaos, and there's a lot of crossed values happening. Yes, maybe that's what it is. That's what I'm feeling like it is. I'm always like, what am I trying to get at? It's almost like you have a conflict of values with the people around you, or like you have conflicting values within yourself, or emotions that are just like intermeshing. And it's like, I do sense anger and rage. So that could be from somebody else, that could be from you. There's something here, like the undercurrents of this reading. I mean, again, with your subconscious, you have the Seven of Wands, so it doesn't, surprise me that there's other like passionate, emotional energy at work here. And anger is passion. It's just like a different vibration of passion. Okay, it's like a very strong feeling. Okay. But your environment is the Chariot. I feel like you can direct it at your will. You might not be able to control other people, but you can control the circumstances that you find yourself in. And it's almost like you have the will or the choice. And I love that the World card is here as your situation, because it's almost like you have the power to kind of step up and move on. You have the power to direct your Chariot in any direction you want. And you don't have to include some of these people on your journey. You can take with you whoever you want. You can leave a lot of people behind. You can say, okay, like that's enough crying, that's enough tears, I'm not going to be disappointed anymore, I'm just going to move on. There's just a lot of promise with the Chariot in your environment. You have a lot of the tools you need to move forward, and perhaps you have people that are encouraging you to move forward as well. So I don't feel like the whole world and all of your relationships are against you. I don't feel like that at all. It just feels like the Chariot is very directive of one's will, and it's almost like you are seeking, I just heard like perhaps, no, I just heard maybe you're seeking compensation for something. For some of you, could be looking toward, like, you know, looking for, okay, well, you wronged me, so now you pay up. Or, oh, like you're almost like waiting for karma to do its thing, but you're also like demanding it too. You're like, well, you did this to me, so now it's only fair that this happened as a consequence. Or, you know, you need to supplement this in some way because I've been hurt by this. So it could be that. It could be that. Someone could be getting their dues because you're demanding it and standing up for yourself. But in other situations, it could quite literally just be, I'm taking my power back, and I'm not going to spend any more time on you. I'm not going to spend any more energy on you. I'm just moving on. again, love, career, finance, whatever the case may be, it's like you're investing energy in, you're having like complications around you, okay? But in your hopes and your fears, the Seven of Cups. I have like a personal relationship with the Seven of Cups, and at the same time, as much as I love it, I want to roll my eyes because you're like a passionate person. I feel like you're a passionate person. You have many ideas and you have many values, and what you hope is that you have options. The Seven of Cups is all about having options. What you hope is that you have a plethora of options to choose from. But what is also scary, especially for indecisive people like me, and sometimes people get really scared when they see the Seven of Cups because they're like, oh my gosh, I have to choose. We don't have to choose one particular thing. Just choose the one that vibes with you the most in this present moment, and then see where it goes. And then if not, start over and do something else. And whatever spirit introduces to you, whatever your life is introducing to you, use the tools and decide for yourself. Don't be afraid to make the choice because it's finally your choice. Especially when you're somebody who's been constantly generous. Maybe you do fall into the vein of being a people pleaser. Perhaps you do. And like I said, I think I said this to Gemini too. It's not bad to be a people pleaser. It means that you want to make people happy and you like seeing them smile. You like seeing them you like seeing their joy. And I mean, it's cool that you're liked too and that you're viewed favorably. That is a social aspect. I don't think people pleasing is wrong. It's only when you cross your own boundaries that it starts to be problematic. If you're giving too much of your energy away, if you're not really speaking from an authentic view, if you're not really speaking from like an authentic place, because at that point I wouldn't call it people pleasing. I would just call that a normal friendship or a normal relationship that you would have with a person. But we do like to exchange energies and give kindness and love to people around us. So it's okay to want to people please. But I think, again, people pleasing is kind of like the label of somebody who crosses their boundaries to bring others that joy or to appease other people. And what I feel like with the Seven of Cups here for the hopes and the fears here is that maybe you've made choices that other people wanted you to make and you want to have options, but options kind of scares you because maybe you're not used to making those choices for yourself and being like, well, what do I want? That could be tough because a lot of times it's almost like you have the skills that you need. Spirit is saying you have what it takes to make the decision for yourself. Just understand that it can be trial and error. That if you don't know, that's okay. Because the only way you're going to know if this is the right path for you is if you make the choices, if you start working towards it. And if it's no longer resonating with you or if it's not working, I just heard Spirit say that stop doing it and go do something else. Because that's the only way you're going to learn about yourself. That's the only way you're going to learn what you have. That's the only way you're going to learn more about you and what you want. Okay, just practice making decisions for yourself. All right. In your outcome, you have the Queen of Pentacles. Queen of Pentacles here tells me that you have you're going to have all the resources available. I feel like you're very resourceful now. I said that with the World, so I like that you have the Queen of Pentacles to close this out. I do feel like you're going to accumulate wisdom. So throughout this week, throughout making your changes, making your choices, all throughout this week, you're going to achieve some sort of knowledge and wisdom from this. Because the Queen of Pentacles, what I love, especially as, somebody who has the world at their disposal, it's almost like you have the wisdom to wield, the power of the world. Because you are learning more about boundaries. And I feel like it's almost like when you discover more about yourself, and when you start becoming confident and strong in yourself, that's taking your power back. That's taking your power and knowing that it's almost like you know your power and you're wielding it to create and to manifest bigger things for yourself. And the Queen of Pentacles is surrounded by so much abundance. I do feel like you're stepping into a Queen of Pentacles abundance of being able to have everything that she needs. She might not have the fanciest private jet. She might not have the biggest mansion, and she might not have all the cool clothes and designer outfits and everything, but she has everything that she needs. She has everything that makes her feel like she has a home. She has everything that she feels distinct. In her corner of the world, everybody knows that that's the Queen of Pentacles. Everybody knows that that's her garden. That's where she is, and she has earned the respect to get there. So whatever situation this applies to you in, know that you are achieving the wisdom to get to that place where not only do you feel like the Queen of Pentacles, but you're going to be viewed as the Queen of Pentacles, as, creating that safe haven for yourself where you can feel powerful. and abundant and cozy. And maybe there's a part of you that, you know, like, it's almost like maybe you just need to learn to put forth more caution when dealing with others. Maybe you've just readily said yes to everybody and it was just too generous, left and right, and all this other stuff. You can grow, but don't stunt your growth by giving other people the nutrients that you need to grow, okay? Like, what are you going to do with so much nutrients? I always feel like, okay, I don't know why I'm using plant analogies right now. Maybe it's because it's late spring, early summer for me and my part of the world, but I love plants. So it's almost like I feel like we were all gifted with a certain amount of, like, I guess what you would call fertilizer, or, like, you know, happy nutrients. And, like, it's our energy. It's our energy. We all have energy. And we have enough energy for ourselves, and we have enough energy to give to others. But I think oftentimes what people do is they give too much to others, and then we kind of lag behind a little bit. We slow down. We kind of hate the world. We're like, the world is happening to me. There's so many things that can develop from giving away too much of your energy. And, you know, it affects our mind. It affects our hearts. It affects our bodies. And I do feel like, for whatever reason, this is coming through for the air signs, this message of needing to take care of the mind, the heart, and the body. Like, spiritual, emotional, and physical. There's just something about taking care of all three and keeping a balance. Spirit's really, like, pushing that. So, you know, just make sure that you're taking care of yourself so that you can stay balanced even through turbulent times. But what was I getting at? I lost the flow here. Help me out, Spirit. No, but essentially it's like you're learning how to get to that space. And you're, like, working, like, through these boundary issues, or you're working towards this standing up for yourself so that you can get to a space of feeling like you are super strong and you're super powerful, when you're learning how much that you need to grow and to thrive and to survive, and how much of your energy, fertilizer, extra happy nutrients, how much of that you're actually able to give to other people, because you still want to grow. You still want to thrive. And Spirit is recognizing that and saying, okay, so build it for yourself. And we will help you. Okay? So let's see what you got for your oracle cards. You have Nightingale Spirit. Love is all around. So again, regardless of how much energy you give out, people will still love you. I mean, and the wrong people, the people who don't love you anymore, well, they weren't meant to stay in your life anyway. I think the best relationships, and the only kind of relationships we really need in our lives, are the people who, or at least the ones that we put importance to. We're always going to have so many different kinds of relationships, and they're not always going to be the most optimal. That's why we're closer to some and not as close to others. Because we still have to deal with people. We still have to deal with their emotions, and we still have to deal with different ways of life than us, and things that we don't really align with. But just know that there is still love to be had, even if you are following your authentic voice, even if you are standing up for yourself and taking measures to protect your energy at all costs. You will not be shunned. You will still have love. The love from Spirit, the love from, like, all the people in your life that have been in your life up until now. So it really is just about, you know, trusting that whoever is meant to stay will stay, whoever is meant to fall away will fall away. Because some people are just around to use your energy. I hate to say it, but some people are kind of nectar sappers, where they come around and they're like, give me all your happy nutrients, and then they just don't give you any, and then you don't feel replenished, and you kind of feel like, what do they call them? Energy vampires, I guess. I don't know. I don't want to use that term because I haven't actually read any books on it, and I don't want to misspeak on the term. But I know that, you know, there are people, and a lot of people don't even realize they're energy vampires. I just want to make clear, a lot of people are just trying to live their life, and, you know, if they find that you make them feel good, they're not really going to care. Some people just don't care if they don't make you feel good. They're just going to, you know, do what they can to feel good, and then they'll move on. And some people are just, you know, I wouldn't say wired like that, because everyone's capable of change, but some people just are like that. And you got to do what you got to do. You can't save everyone, you know? But you also have White Raven Magic here, Trust in the Magic. Or White Raven Spirit, I'm sorry, White Raven Spirit, Trust in the Magic. just trust and believe that like the next steps will be presented to you. Gemini kind of got this too, of making room for spirit to come in and really just stepping into a state of meditation. I think for you, it's just the value of faith and trust. For you, you really just got to step off and like, not even step off, like keep moving forward with your life, but really like almost like, interesting, Libra. So I sense you kind of learning your own language with spirit. Perhaps you follow I just heard like you're a very altruistic person and you really want to give to the world. Spirit wants you to give to the world too, but they really, really want you to take measures to take care of yourself. And they're asking you to step into a space of trust that you can affect great change, that you can bring this happiness, this peace, this joy, whatever it is that you're trying to spread. You can give this generosity to others, but really just trust that spirit can help you with that. Trust that you are where you're at, where you need to be, that everything that has occurred to you, I guess, or everything that you've encountered up until this point has been accurate and true to your divine timing, your divine plan, and that you were meant to come to these realizations now. They were meant to come up from within, and let the white raven lead the way forward. Let spirit open up the doors of change for you, because you have given so much. You have given so much. And it's almost like spirit is saying follow the white feathers. So for some of you, you might actually be seeing white feathers. Maybe not from a white raven, but from birds, quite literal signs to follow the feathers. Follow the signs, whatever language of the universe that you have, whatever signs and synchronicities you pick up. For you, it might not be, triple numbers on a clock, though it could be, like if that speaks to your intuition. If you have a certain bird that you see out in nature, that you see often, and it makes you think of spirit, that's them. They're there. That's a sign. Or like maybe there's one that you don't see every once in a while. Maybe, when you see little chipmunks, or I don't know why I'm getting nature-y vibes, so maybe some of you find signs out in nature. For some of us, it could even be like something more technological or tactile or something, like maybe like through a phone app. If there's something specific that a certain app says, for whatever reason, it sparks this inner knowing of, oh, I was just thinking that was a sign. Like whatever language you have that shows up as a sign for you from the universe, spirit is saying trust that, and trust that magical things are happening for you. Trust that there are magical processes happening in the background that will help guide you not only forward on the next step, but it's like the universe is conspiring to help you, not to hurt you. The world is not out to get you. The universe is conspiring to give you everything that you want. So really taking the time to connect with your intuition and settling into that state of trust is going to help you start not only attracting these things, but just help you live life in like a quieter, not as hectic fashion, in more of a peaceful fashion, I guess I should say. More peaceful and loving way. Okay, so let's see what else we got for you, Libra. Not for you. There could be an opportunity there. So there are some opportunities that could present themselves to you where you're just like, that's not for me, or you're really feeling like, nope. And I do feel like that once upon a time, these things you would have said yes to in the past. But because of all of the trials and tribulations you've faced thus far, Libra, you're at a point where you're saying, nope. And that's fine. Your intuition, I love when this card pops up, because this is a card of intuition. This is a card of, something coming up. It's so obvious sometimes. We feel it very strongly. At least when I get this card, I feel it very strongly, of it being like something just doesn't fit. And sometimes it's so obvious. Like, it's almost like if you're, I don't know, like if you're somebody who dates a lot of logical-minded people, and all of a sudden you're faced with somebody who's the like exact opposite. Maybe love was like a poor example. I'm gonna use this space of like a job. Okay, I'm just gonna say a job, because I'm like, love's an awful example, but because like we can fall in love with anyone, but like I guess it's like definitely like it could be like a difference in lifestyles. But it's like when you are, let's say you're like a freelancer and you love to make your own schedule and everything, like joining the 9-to-5 corporate job, when there's an opportunity like that presents itself to you, you're like, that is nothing like the life that I have now, and I absolutely know that's not for me. So And again, these opportunities can be, like, not saying that nobody has made that freelancing to corporate switch, because there's no shame in that, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to have that structure and that routine in our lives, because if it provides, if it's stable, if it's something that, like, you know, that office environment, or even just the work environment in general, if you're somebody who needs to go in and, like, have that type of life in order to feel that sense of community, that's totally fine. I love it. I love it myself, even though I am branching more towards freelancing. There are things that I love about, like, you know, that classic 9 to 5 and, like, just the normal joining, like, the workforce and stuff. Like, I do like that. There are aspects of it that I like, but it's just a matter of intuitively at this time, if opportunities are presenting themselves to you, it's almost like, you know, you're getting like, you see an opportunity and you're like, oh, that's good, but, like, oh, it's a good opportunity, but that's not the opportunity for me. Like, you're feeling like it's not for you. And I don't know, sometimes it's like I feel disillusioned, like I want something, and then when it pops up, I say, but that's exactly what I asked for, but that doesn't feel right, and it's not for me. It's almost like that, because sometimes when the card does pop up for other people, it's almost like people get kind of disappointed because they want something, and then when the card not for you pops up, they're like, oh, that means it's not for me. It just means that you have a strong sense. I feel like in this reading, Libra, with your energy that I'm working with, you have a strong sense of what's for you and what's not for you. And if you're unsure, or if you're having trouble deciding, Spirit will guide you forward. Step into a space where you can breathe. Because I actually just said this, where, like, stepping into stillness, and I said this for Gemini too. I said before too that I said it for Gemini. Because a lot of times when I do these readings, the fire signs often have similar readings. The same thing with, like, the earth, and then the air signs will have similar, the water signs will have similar readings. But typically with breathe, we are stepping into a space of meditation, of clearing our mind and just focusing on the breath and staying present. Because when we focus on the breath, and as a psychic medium, I will always tell you this, that when I focus on the breath, and I can't hear spirit very well because I'm mostly clairaudient, but sometimes in order to get into the right brainwave state, we need to calm the mind and relax the body. And when I focus on my breath, going in and out, spirit gets louder and louder, and I can hear them louder as I'm doing that. So it's like a switching a state of mind thing. And that's honestly how you can access your intuition. That's why meditation is so helpful, is because you're, like, switching brainwave states. And they talk about this a lot. I don't know the exact science behind it, but, like, the theta states and, like, the beta, theta, whatever. I don't know. I like neurology, so I really got to start learning about that. And when I do, I will bring that information into the channel so we can all feed on that knowledge, like those of you who are hungry for things like that. But yeah, stepping into a space of solitude and being able to meditate and be in a calm, peaceful state, that helps channel, like, divine information a lot more. It helps channel the way forward, basically. Okay. Let's see what else. Oh yes, we'll roll the dice for you. Okay, well, if it rolls on the floor, then I don't roll with it. So, because I'm not going down to get that, and Spirit knows that, so. I'm assuming that happened for a reason. So you have 16. I'm going to pull from Angel Numbers by Kyle Gray, as always. You are being invited to upgrade your choices and move toward experiences that support your joy and purpose. Let go and move forward. One more time. You are being invited to upgrade your choices and move toward experiences that support your joy and purpose. Let go and move forward. That, Libra, is your reading. Thank you to you, your angel guides, and your spirit team for allowing me to channel that message for you. I really do appreciate connecting with your energy and vibing with your sign. If this resonated with you in any way, go ahead, like and subscribe and all the things. Yes, I did just pick up that dice with my foot, y'all. So I was wearing my sock. I didn't think I'd be able to do that in my sock. But anyway, so thank you for helping me channel. Like and subscribe, all the things, so you don't miss content from me, and that way it helps get the message out to others. I love you, Libra, and I will see you next time. Bye.